Imagine walking into a room full of people, and before you even say a word, they assume that they know the little things about you. For me, it was always, "You're so spoiled, shy, or bad at sharing." And with just those few words, I, like many other people, have been placed into a box built by stereotypes. I mean, everyone does it. Everyone has presumptions of one another, even when we don't mean to. Growing up, I had always wanted a little sibling, someone to share my knowledges and experiences with, someone I can look over, and someone I can take on cute little shopping sprees so their style looked just as good as mine. When I was 6, my parents told me I would be having a baby brother. The excitement and joy I felt was truly surreal. Unfortunately, my mom had a miscarriage around the middle of her second trimester. The pain and the grief that my family had to go through was something that not many people can understand. Yes, the pain we could suppress, but we can't truly get rid of it. Growing up as an only child is an experience that's often misunderstood. Society has painted this narrative that paints us as self-centered, socially inept, and incapable of handling the real world. But the reality, it's so much more complex than that. Hi, I'm Kylah Isidro, and today I would like to break down these stereotypes and share how my experiences as an only child have helped me navigate through life and shape my journey of self-discovery. Number 1, stereotypes and how they've affected me. I've never really understood these stereotypes as a kid. I would always get little jokey comments like, "You're so spoiled," but I just thought that I could brush past them. The first time I felt and understood the real weight of these stereotypes was in the 9th grade. It was after one of my AU basketball games. One of my assistant coaches, wanted to go down the line and tell us why we weren't the best basketball players. So he starts with my first teammate, and he goes, "You're not confident enough." Then he goes to my second teammate, "You're too confident and need to lower your ego." Then he goes to my third teammate, and he goes, "You're too selfish with the ball." And then he came to me. Your parents are gonna hate me for saying this, but even though you're an only child, you're a spoiled brat and you get everything you want. There I was, looking up at someone I thought I could trust. After that, I ran to my parents, ran out the locker room, and I told them everything that happened. My parents, most especially my mom, were so angry and hurt. I mean, after everything that we've been through, the pain that we finally started to suppress, it all came rushing back. After that, I often questioned myself. Was I really that different? Would having a baby brother make me a better person? I wasn't that spoiled, am I? For years, I internalized these judgments. I questioned my worth, my ability to connect, and if I would ever be normal. My sophomore year, I transferred here to Moreau. I would start going to open gyms for basketball and create new friendships within the team. After one of our open gyms, one of the players at the time made a comment saying she would want to have 2 kids when she grew older. She followed that comment by asking me if I had any siblings, in which I replied no. And she said, "I would never have an only child. My children need to learn how to share." I spoke up and I told him that when I was young, my mom had a miscarriage. She stared at me blankly. She didn't really have a response to that, but she said sorry with a blank face. There I was, in the same situation, but also different. I finally stood up for not just myself, but also my family. These stereotypes were not the only part of the challenge. The real struggles came in the quiet moments, the loneliness that crept in when my friends would go home to their siblings and I would go home to quietness, which brings me to my next point. Number 2, embracing independence. Being an only child meant navigating through deep emotional landscapes alone. It meant sitting at dinner tables where the only voices that you could hear were your parents. It meant shouldering expectations because there was no sibling to share the load. It meant that you're the sole bearer of expectations. If you succeed, there's no sibling to share the spotlight with. But if you fail, there's no sibling to share the weight with either. This pressure can be both motivating and paralyzing. As I grew old, that weight stayed buried on my shoulders. My peers would comment on how I was so mature for my age and would joke that I must get everything that I want. The truth, I didn't. Even though I was an only child, my parents taught me to always work for what I want. And the stuff wasn't just going to be given to me. Last year, I got my driver's license and saved up enough money from my job to pay for my own car. No one knew how hard I had to work just to be able to feel like something was my own. Not that it was just given to me. I was okay with that. It gave me a reason to work even harder. I embraced that feeling and knowing it that I did for myself made things feel even better. But this feeling also came with the pressure of being the perfect child for my parents. I often felt that pressure of being the sole focus of my parents' hopes and dreams. Even if they didn't necessarily put that pressure on me, I still felt like I had to live up to certain expectations. That pressure and feeling leads me to my next point. Number 3, suppressing the pressure. Last summer was my last season of AU club basketball. I always saw myself playing basketball in college, but I never did anything to really get recruited. And I often didn't take it as seriously as I wanted, and I should have. It was coming down to the wire, and the pressure of having no college offers would often scare me. I was scared that I would disappoint my parents. I had finally got a couple, but now every decision felt monumental. Where will my career path be? Will my parents be proud? Was I making the right choice? Were my grades even good enough? For only children, we fear of disappointing our loved ones can always keep us stuck. But here's the truth. Our lives are our own. The best way to honor the people who raised us is not by carrying their dreams, but by living our own. It took time, but I started to reframe my narrative. My parents were super supportive of whatever path I chose. And yes, I grew up differently, but different isn't defective. I learned that my independence was a strength and not a weakness. I was used to forging friendships with an intensity that sometimes scared others away. Because for me, friendships weren't just connections, they were also lifelines. I learned that my deep, loyal friendships were not a burden, but a gift, and my ability to navigate life's challenges alone gave me resilience that others admired, which brings me to my last and final point. Number 4, coping. I started to look at the brighter side of things. I looked up to my older cousin. I've leaned on him for many things, whether it be a quick little laugh, a horror movie marathon, some Taco Bell runs, or even just a quick little conversation. Not only has he been there for me, but he's given me advice that I couldn't even get from my parents or any other peers. So he really became the brother I never had. Yes, I do rely on my independence sometimes because that's just what I'm used to. And it's something I've always been proud of. But the key to the loneliness that I feel are within the friendships that I made with my family, the mentors I've learned to embrace, and having a network of people that will be there behind me to support and challenge my skills. And the beautiful part, anyone can do this. Whether you come from a large or a small family or something in between, you have the power to create your own tribe. Because at the end of the day, family isn't just who we're born with or who we're around. It's the people that we choose. So to my fellow only children, you're not the stereotype. You're not just a product of myths. You are whole, and you are enough. And your experiences, both the strengths and the weaknesses, are most definitely valid. And to everyone else, let's stop assuming we know someone's story before they tell it. Instead of boxing people in, let's listen, because behind every label and stereotype is a person who is so much more than the words used to describe them. Thank you.